So what is the NAFER International Committee Conference coming up in March? Well, to start with, we have to probably know what NAFER is. NAFER is the National Association of Federal Equity Receivers. It is a collection of the best and brightest U.S. receiver corps that handle typically large regulatory appointments, such as things from the SEC, other U.S. government groups like the PBGC and whatnot. And that organization has come together to provide what's typically referred to as the master's level training and interaction for that group of people. Within that, there's a subgroup that specializes in dealing with these sorts of fiduciary matters that have cross-border elements. That is what the focus of the International Committee Conference is. It's in Miami, so the first and 2nd of March this year, and it'll have a who's who of the U.S.-based receivers that deal with cross-border matters, the professionals that serve them, accountants, valuation people, auctioneers, e-discovery, all those sorts of folks. And then a who's who of the international folks who interact with U.S.-based fiduciaries. People like Martin Trott from Rawlinson Hunter, John Royal, Grant Thornton, variety of other folks from Cayman, BVI, occasionally London, Ireland, different places. So it's a little bit of a different conference. We don't have this typical panel discussion interaction. We actually have simulations. So we take the hot issues of the day and some of the time-honored issues that need to be reminded or touched up because of new developments. And we create this actual simulation that starts off looking and feeling just like a case. There's motion practice. We get bombastic attorneys to argue positions. We almost always have at least one federal judge who's there who makes rulings. Again, they're not on the bench, so they're free to have a little bit of fun as well. So within this context, we see the issues of the day actually debated and played out. We have the chance for folks in the room to ask questions. Everybody's at a table with a role. And it's really been, I think, a very well-received way of educating folks, getting them involved, helping them see the nuances, especially in cross-border matters. There's a lot of things that are actually new. They're not as much settled law. And so, for example, this year we'll be talking about the new Cayman restructuring officer regime, playing that into a scenario where we compare that with the traditional winding up petition, see who'd be on what side depending on your role in the case as a creditor or a regulator or a inside the company person, and working our way through those thought processes and how you'd act based on which side of the coin you were on. Probably also have a little take on some of the FTX and crypto sorts of things. Those are sort of the current things, not Cayman related, but certainly seeing the conflict between cross-border jurisdictions playing out live.